In 1986, a massive algal bloom affected Lake Okeechobee. Cited as the cause was nutrient pollution, which led to state and federal governments placing significant restrictions on dairies. Many in the area went out of business. At the same time, Sutton Rucks was graduating from high school and about to assume substantial responsibilities at his family's second dairy.
Just so happened this farm was about 75% constructed, and everyone and their cousin was pulling their hair out and didn't want another dairy in the Okeechobee or the Kissimmee River Valley Basin. And anyway, we've come a long ways since 1986.
For Sutton Rucks, it's all about adapting, setting goals to be more productive, and being as environmentally sustainable as he can. Having grown up and worked on the farm all his life gives him a foundation that few have.
That knowledge base that you get just being here. I mean, I see stuff around this farm every day that grabs my attention. My philosophy's always been, my job's observation. Observing cows, observing people. And there's certain times that there's a little correction involved in all of it.
Those little corrections would add up to big changes.
14, 15, 16 feet behind the barn, and if we got it back still.
Howard Harrison has worked with the Rucks for more than 20 years. He's witnessed the farm's progress, adopting best available technologies as they are developed.
Sutton took over, and we worked extensively with him, developing conservation plans, certified nutrient management plans, engineering designs for the waste management systems, which includes irrigation systems, collections, pumps, the work around the barn to try to collect all the waste, and for water quality purposes.
Herd health and productivity go hand in hand with environmental protection, and the Rucks set out to address all three with the installation of freestall barns and a staged lagoon system.
We built our first freestall barn here at Milk and R in 2004. My dad was alive at the time, and he's like, "Son, you're third generation and you're fixing to lose it all." And I'm like, it's not gonna happen. We'll make it work one way or another if I gotta live in these things for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And at that time, it was the unknown. There was very few of them in the area.
The open-air barns are built with the cow's comfort in mind. A misting system over the feed bunk and giant fans throughout help regulate the temperature, a tall task considering South Florida's summers. Frequently turned sand beds provide cool resting spots for the cows. Conforming to their bodies, it makes an ideal bedding. And since the sand is non-absorbent, harmful bacteria can't saturate it. Each facet of the barn's design was intended to reduce stress on the cows. The result is a healthier herd that produces more milk. Milking R's three-stage lagoon system makes it possible to retain and reuse wastewater. It's also essential for protecting the surrounding watershed. Manure in the freestall barns is contained in concrete lanes, where it's flushed twice daily into the lagoon or holding ponds. Solids settle in the first stage lagoon, and gravity moves the water from one pond to the next. The nutrient-rich water is pumped from the second stage lagoon to the fields. There, it's sprayed through center pivot irrigation onto the crops, where the nutrients in the water are absorbed. High-quality corn and grasses are harvested and sampled to determine their nutritional content. Corn silage, the staple of the cow's diet, is mixed with grain and hay. A nutritionist formulates the combination of the rations to match the cow's needs. Superior nutrition makes a healthy herd, which means high-quality milk. The feeding cycle begins again. to ensure that no runoff leaves the property, Milking R set aside 90 acres of pasture to build a rainwater retention pond. All the rainwater from the farm's pastures and irrigated fields is pumped into this pond.
Now what you end up doing on the other side, you get those ditches realigned and...
Yep, everything.
The Rucks made the choice to give up 90 acres of land that was productive herd pasture and in order to store more water on the property. And really the effort has been a good success in that there's been almost no water has left the farm at all. And you know, with that, no additional nutrient load is going into the watershed surrounding the dairy. They've protected the environment around the farm and the Lake Okeechobee watershed as a whole. It's good that we have landowners who are conscious of the environment and go the extra mile to do the right thing.
Milking R's 1,200 cows are each milked twice a day. In a parlor that holds 28 cows at a time, it's a continuous process. The parlor operates 24 hours a day, every day of the year. 2 times a day, Southeast Milk Co-op's tanker transports 6,000 gallons of milk to a processing facility. From there, it's on to the grocery store.
We as dairy farmers, I think we produce one of the most wholesome foods out there. If you do the annual consumption of dairy products per person in the country, we feed about 65,000 people a day. It's a pretty good feeling to know that, you know, in a 24-hour day, you've put enough food in front of 65,000 people.
The Milking R is truly a family farm. Sutton's grandparents started in the dairy business in Dade County in the 1930s and, in the mid-50s, started Dry Lake Dairy in Okeechobee. Sutton's father and 2 uncles worked with their dad. In 1986, the family built a second farm at the current location. In 2001, Sutton's father and uncle divided the farm, and the 1,200-acre Milking R Inc. was created. Growing up, all Sutton wanted to do was work on the farm.
Being a family business, I was allowed to, virtually shadow my dad since I could walk. But at 12 years old, I remember, milking cows, attaching machines 9-10 hours a day, and enjoyed it. I mean, I thought that was the greatest summer vacation a kid could do.
And there you go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
At 14, he learned to artificially inseminate cows, and at 18, he was foreman. By the time Sutton was 21, he was managing the dairy.
My father actually was a dairy farmer, but I swore I wouldn't marry a dairy farmer because I saw how demanding it was. And, when you're 16, 17, 18, your whole mind is, I'm going to get out of this town and do something different, and it didn't work out that way, and I'm very, very glad it didn't.
Kris and Sutton appreciate the strong work ethic farm life instilled in them and chose to raise their children, Lindsay and Garrett, at the Milking R. And the kids are glad they did.
But when someone asks, hey, what's it like? You kind of think about, what, I am blessed to be able to live out there and live the life I live.
I hope one day I can raise my kids here. Like, to me, I grew up here and I love that and couldn't imagine not ever being here.
Lindsay, employed by a dairy publishing company, works from home, which allows her to help select genetics and assist with herd reproduction. She also gets to work with her favorite breed. In 4-H at 9 years old, she started to raise and show brown Swiss cows in national competitions. She's raised champions and turned her hobby into a business.
Radical Genetics is a partnership between my family and I, my parents and I, that started in 2006. It is completely based on registered cattle that we now show and market throughout the United States. Anything from competing at national shows to who we're going to breed each cow to, different things like that. It's definitely a family affair.
Garrett oversees crop production and daily work on the farm. In middle and high school, he was active in rodeo, so he's happy to be on his horse, working cattle whenever he can.
I am the manager of the beef operation. Me and my dad work together doing all that stuff, and that's kind of our little side deal we like to do together. You know, my grandpa and us is always our deal on the side. And here in the past few years, we've kind of taken it to the next level, you know, expanded our herd. We're pushing 600 head. We're growing every year.
Kris's role in the partnership involves consulting with Sutton on everything relating to the dairy's operation. She handles all of the farm's bookwork, including the cow records. Kris also manages the new calf barn, caring for the calves and training the employees on the new equipment. Always looking for ways to improve the herd, Sutton designed and, in 2014, built Florida's first ever calf barn with automatic feeders. When a hungry calf walks into a feeding station, her RFID tag is scanned. The computer automatically logs her in, calculates the amount of milk she needs, and dispenses it. Tracking each calf's feeding habits and growth weight allows the Rucks to quickly detect any possible health issues.
Very interested in what you've seen so far.
From engineers and other dairymen considering technology that the farm has implemented, to the general public curious about dairy production, the Rucks are always willing to open the farm to share information. The Rucks also opened their dairy to the next generation. Sutton and Kris took leadership roles when their kids joined 4-H. They found that even students from non-farm families were interested in showing animals. The Rucks offered to house the 4-H'ers' calves, and students who raise their calves at home are welcome to move their calves to the milking R when they're old enough to milk. The kids often start with stock from the Rucks' superior herd. For the Rucks, life on the farm is a 24/7 job. They're either working or on call. But to them, it's a life filled with a sense of purpose.
It's demanding. But you learn that as you go, and it's okay. It's okay if we're going down the driveway to go out to eat and there's a cow in labor that needs assistance. It's okay if we miss a movie to help that cow out. It just becomes your life, and you enjoy it because you know the end result is producing food for the world, and you feel good about that.
Getting the herd and the farm to this level has taken years. Choosing the right genetics, providing the best nutrition, and creating a sustainable environment is hard and complicated work. It's required Sutton to be a combination of a vet, teacher, laborer, scientist, and engineer.
My dad didn't pay for me to go to college, but he sure invested some money in me to learn how to manage, how to be a dairy farmer. You know, if it wasn't for him being the way he was, kind of stood, you know, pulled back and let me do what I wanted to do. You know, he let me do my dream, become a farmer.